Mm.
Hey, Abby,
Hello, Taylor.
can I use your face?
For what?
Thank you.
So the original Zack Snyder cut of the Justice League is finally out. How is it? It's surprisingly good. The original Justice League was a bit of a hot mess, the Joss Whedon cut. The color palette was a lot more vibrant, there were a lot more quips and jokes that felt a bit out of place, and the pacing was definitely a bit rushed considering it was introducing 3 new characters all in this one movie. And now here it is, the 4-hour-long Snyder cut. So, what do I think about it?
But Taylor, it's been a while since you've done final thoughts with the boys.
Do you really want to hear someone else's opinion? Okay, fine. Here, look, boom. That's someone I watched it with. Well, at least the first bits of it. So, yep, there it is. Cool. Check that off the thoughts checkbox. But yeah, spoiler free. What do I think about the movie? Should you watch it? The largest departure for this film was that it spent a lot more time developing the characters. Because canonically, this is the first time that we meet Aquaman, Cyborg, and also the Flash. So it's understandable that they should spend a lot of time on these characters. And mainly, they spent a good amount of time on Cyborg, exploring his past, how he came to be, and actually having a visual representation of how his powers work, which is really cool. There's also a few extra scenes with the Flash and Aquaman. They aren't as necessary, but they get you more familiar with these characters. So then once the team shows up, you can kind of feel their chemistry a lot more because you understand them. Speaking of chemistry, the little chats that they just put in this movie that weren't in the original cut really did a lot to develop the characters' chemistries. Aquaman and Diana, Aquaman and Cyborg. These are... You can tell as these characters slowly grow fond of each other and develop throughout this story and grow an appreciation for each other. And that's just something that's pretty huge. Something that was really missing in the original cut. They also cut down on some of the quippy dialogue that was in the original cut. A lot of the random jokes that kind of came out of nowhere and weren't super appropriate. They're gone. And some pretty bad line delivery. They also cut it. So, yeah, that's good. There was also the plot line in the original film about a random Russian family that we focused on for a good 10 minutes because at the final act, the Flash had to save them. They're cut out. That's great. It lets us spend more time with the titular characters and doesn't focus so much on these characters that really we don't care about. Towards the end, it's a completely different movie from the original cut. The context to what happens is different, and there's a lot more extra scenes put in there that are just really cool. It's really solid scenes, and it gives the Flash a purpose to be there. I'll say that. Other than saving that Russian family in the original movie. So, my final thoughts on the Snyder Cut? It's a 73. It's decently dragged on. There's Zack Snyder's stylistic choices of slow motion and the overly desaturated parts where sometimes you couldn't even tell that red hair was red. These are all stylistic choices that he made. I think some of the slow motion was a little bit overboard. And also the overall screenplay isn't too great. Steppenwolf as a villain, he's less horrible, but he still isn't good. Villains like Steppenwolf or Darkseid, where it's just absolute evil destruction, you can't reason with them. They can work, but they need to be developed in a way to whereas their ideology is explored. That's, I feel like, the best way to write a type of absolute evil world domination villain is if you explore their philosophy and their motivations. And however twisted it may be, you can kind of connect to it. For example, Thanos, world's overpopulation, or Oryx from Destiny, believing that he's sharpening the world, basically natural selection at its finest, to sharpen the universe to its most finite and fittest creatures. Steppenwolf and Darkseid, they're just like, we want to control the wills of people. So, yeah, there's that. And of course, the goods, a lot better development on the new characters. They have good chemistry, and also the final act. The final act is just so much better. It's a huge improvement. So it's a really fun superhero movie. That's what I thought. Anyways, now let's talk spoilers. So, first things I want to talk about are the future prediction vision scenes that were just scattered throughout the final act-ish of the movie. I love those scenes. I thought they were really creative. And I really just like these prediction future flashes into the far future that could possibly happen, because it shows what can be, and we'll need to, as an audience, think about how it got there. Yeah, the part where Darkseid killed Aquaman, Wonder Woman was dead, and then Superman turned evil because Lois Lane probably died at the hands of the Joker. Yeah. Whew. I love these possible futures, and the fact that we got to actually see them on a big screen. I love it. I really like that. Also, Martian Manhunter's in this movie. That was something. I feel like this movie does a good job of setting a bunch of things that makes you want to see the future of this universe. See where this leads. See if the dark future comes to fruition, how a bunch of things happens to this timeline, to this dark future. It's just all the foreshadowing there is set, and I would not mind seeing a sequel. When I watched this with some of my friends, we pointed out that some of the flashback scenes of the past or Cyborg's mind kind of felt really out of place. They kind of stuck out like a sore thumb. There was something really off about them. But then, as I thought more about it, I thought it was maybe even a stylistic choice to make it stand out a bit more, make it seem more fake, because it's a tale in the case of the past and their previous encounter with Darkseid. And with the case of Cyborg's powers, he's just a human seeing these things. He's walking in this digital space, and the fact that he sticks out, pops out, maybe it was also a stylistic choice. To show that, whoa, it's just a human navigating this huge, vast field of information. And yeah, Cyborg. Really well done. So much better than what he was in the first movie. And I really like his development with Aquaman. Aquaman in the first movie to Cyborg was just like, yeah, you might be evil, bitch. In this, Aquaman said like one line about, well, how do we know he's not evil? And then after that, when Cyborg's father died, Aquaman like, hey man, take it easy on the boy. He's just a kid who's about to face the most powerful forces in the universe, who just lost his father. And yeah, hey, that's powerful chemistry. Also the scene where Flash turned back time, that was cool. Yeah, that was real cool. It gave him a purpose in the final act. And the whole thing about the Flash in this movie is that he feels like an amateur. He doesn't understand his powers. I thought it was a bit out of nowhere that he suddenly found that power, and can he like channel it again suddenly, or what is it? I'm not completely sure, but with what this movie was given, that scene was very cool, at least visually, and also in execution. If you don't mind the slightly shallower development that got you to that point. Zack Snyder's Superman has always been kind of edgy, but in this movie, yeah, feels very human. And I really like the scenes. Just his scenes walking in the field, his Lois Lane worrying about him, feeling sad after his death. These are really just very human scenes in the movie that made me feel a connection, made my heart throb. And then there's Batman, which you realize in this movie that Batman hasn't killed anyone. And at the end, when Batman was like, "Hey, Joker, I'm gonna kill you," and Joker's like, "Ha, no, you're not." By the way, Jared Leto Joker. Yeah, I feel that. It feels like the Batman in this movie feels terrible about what he did in Batman vs Superman, and he's trying to change, which is good. Yeah, that's a good redemption path down for Batman. So, hey, that's pretty interesting. All the characters in this movie are done way better. All the plot points tied up. There isn't really much for me to complain about continuity-wise. So yeah, I just really enjoyed this movie. It's a bit on the long side. Some of my friends were getting bored while watching it with me, but still, I'd recommend it. Just have 4 hours in your day, sit down, just relax and watch the movie. Yep, if you just want a fun, just a genuinely good superhero movie, yeah, I'd say this is genuinely good. All right. Anyways, that is what I thought about the Snyder Cut. Watch it if you like. You're not missing a lot, but this is good stuff. So, yep. That's what I thought. DC going forward, I have no idea where it's going, but I'll keep my eye on it. If it's going to be a train wreck, or if it's going to be something that's good. I don't know. But hey, that's it for me today. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.